Stepping into a leadership role can be both thrilling and challenging. Hi, this is Leslie Fiorenzo. Today, I want to talk about this idea of mastering leadership and 3 common mistakes that many new supervisors or new team leads unknowingly make, and more importantly, how to avoid them. The first common mistake that new leaders often fail to do is establish credibility from the first day on the job. If your team members don't see you as a trustworthy leader, it's going to be really a lot harder for you to do your job. People want to believe in you, so you need to do things that make that possible. In order to establish credibility with your direct reports, you need to be consistent. The people you are leading need to be able to depend on you. Everything you do, everything you say needs to be in alignment. In addition, treat people with respect. You might disagree with someone, but you do not need to be disagreeable. In other words, listen without interrupting that person. Be aware of the words you choose, not only your verbal words, but your body language and your tone of voice. Create an environment at work where people feel safe to come to you because they know they are not going to be ridiculed and you are going to communicate effectively, which actually leads us to the second mistake that often leaders make, and that's they fail to communicate effectively. Sometimes communicate at all. But you, I'm sure, agree with me that communication is the cornerstone of effective leadership. But so often, new supervisors, sometimes established supervisors, are ineffective at communication. So state expectations clearly. Use active listening skills. Communication mistakes can really hinder collaboration and productivity. So you want to steer clear. And here's 3 tips to think about. First of all, setting clear expectations, then asking better questions. And the third one is actively listen. We can all be better listeners. So if we think about this idea of expectations, clear, concise expectations are vital to your team's success. Ambiguity leads to confusion and frustration, and confusion and frustration can really hinder your team's productivity. So establish clear goals, define roles, responsibilities, and performance expectations. By doing so, you will create a roadmap for success where everyone, including you, can thrive. Now, the second tip is ask better questions. I'm sure you know the difference between closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are those that are answerable with a yes or a no. So when we use open-ended questions, we can elicit more information. But I think it's important to use 2 types. Avoid questions that start with why. When you start a question with why, it can be somewhat accusatory. So the 2 better questions are what and how. What happened? What made that possible? What led up to that decision? Those kinds of questions, or how did that happen, can be better questions to ask, and better questions will get you a better answer. The third tip, now that you've asked a question, you're going to listen with your ears as well as your mind, and maybe even your heart, right? You're going to put your whole self in there and actively listen. Listen to what the person is saying, so their words, but listen to what's underneath what they're saying. What are they feeling? What's their intention behind the words? What's really happening with them? I believe active listening is a skill that every single one of us can improve upon. It takes work, it takes dedication, but imagine if we improve the communication and improve our listening skills and have a better conversation with that person that we're leading, how much better work can be. And I ultimately think that's what we're after, is a better workplace. After all, we spend much of our waking hours, many of our waking hours, and really frankly much of our life at work. So why not make it the best it can be? And active listening can help that. The last idea I want to share with you in this video is this: when we fail to build trust. Trust is the glue that holds the team together, and it needs to be, in my opinion, one of your top priorities as a new leader. Unfortunately, when we don't build trust, it often goes unnoticed. This mistake often goes unnoticed. So when we create an environment of trust, you'll foster stronger relationships, you'll increase employee engagement, and ultimately higher performance. One of my favorite business authors is Patrick Lencioni, and he has a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And his model in this book is a pyramid, if you will. And trust is at the very bottom of that pyramid. He says that's where the first mistake that people make or teams make is when we don't trust each other. Because when we don't trust each other, when there's not that foundation of trust, it's going to be really hard for us to get to the top of that pyramid, which the top of that pyramid are the business results that we're looking for. So business growth, profitability, other measures, on-time delivery, customer satisfaction, all of those kinds of things that businesses look at to say, hey, are we doing a good job? Are we successful? So trust is one factor that can lead towards that success. And a way to build trust, an easy way, is to keep your word. Do the thing you said you'd do in the time you said you'd do it. You make a promise that you can deliver. There's a saying to under-promise and over-deliver. Oftentimes people over-promise and under-deliver, and that causes a lot of frustration and really causes trust to break down. So when we as leaders can be reliable, we can be consistent, and we can be transparent in our decision making, it goes a long way to building trust. The other thing you want to do is be able to be supportive and be accessible. Be available to your team members when they have questions or when they need guidance or when they need support or when they need feedback. When you're interacting with them, show empathy. Assist team members when necessary. Your accessibility and supportiveness lead to an environment that is trusting, where people feel like they can count on you and then they can count on each other. Trust takes time to build, but I believe it is sincerely worth your effort. So there you have it, 3 common mistakes that are often made, and more importantly, what you can do to avoid them. So by learning from experiences of others and implementing these strategies, you can become a confident and respected leader. Remember, this is really just the beginning of your journey towards mastering leadership. And so I would encourage you to continue to join me here on my channel, but I would also love to know what you think. Share your results. Have you implemented some of these ideas? And what was the result? What happened? Or just have a comment, or maybe you have a question. feel free to drop that in the box below this video. Of course, would love to have you share this work, so subscribe to my channel and send it along to somebody you think would benefit. As always, thanks for watching.